you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Hey folks, welcome to the program. This is Scotty Roberts. It is Wednesday evening. Happy Wednesday, everyone. And you're listening to my show, the Intrepid radio program, right here on the Odyssey Radio Network. That's ODYSY1.com. Come on over, see all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio over there. And at the same time, you're watching here live on what would be the simulcast if I was broadcasting live to Odyssey tonight. And that's on my YouTube channel. And for those of you not here right now, that's youtube.com/Mr. Scotty Roberts. So how's your day, everyone? Mine is pretty good today. My wife went out to a big picnic with Rowan. Ellery was supposed to go. It was a scout picnic. Ellery was supposed to go, but she was sick. She had 102 temperature. Now, 5 minutes ago, she was down to 98.6. So there you go. I think she's doing okay. And Flynn is home. But a little earlier, Rainey walked into my office, and this is a couple hours ago, 3-4 hours ago, and she handed me this and a pen, and there's what that note said. Want to get sexy? Yes or no? And I had to cross off which one I wanted. And now, what do you think I wanted? But she walks in, and she hands that to me with the pen. And she goes, check off the one you want. And I said, by the way, for those of you who aren't watching this, the note says in Rainey's handwriting, want to get sexy? And then 2 boxes, yes or no. So there's only one correct answer to that question. But she handed me the pen, and I'm trying to X out the S, the yes. Yes, of course. You know what my answer is. And it wasn't working. And she said, she goes, press down on the thing. And I pressed down on it like this, and it gives me a shock. It goes, bzzz, and she starts just uproarious laughter. And my son is standing there too, and he starts laughing too. He was in on the joke. So the joke was, give me something to motivate me to use the pen. Hand me the pen that doesn't, the nip doesn't come out, and you got to press on it. And it's a fake pen. It meant to give you a little, it didn't shock you. It wasn't like painful. It was just like one of those bzzz. I'm like, oh boy. So yeah, we sure are, Matt Finn. He says, men are a sucker for the cute stuff. And man, that sure is the truth. And so there it is. I told her I'm keeping that. And I used a big green magic marker, as you can see. So she couldn't mistake my answer. I go, there's my answer. Here you go. So that was my evening a little earlier, and before they went to the picnic. I was honey-potted, says Master Finn. Yes, indeed I was. And so tonight we're going to get back into this, talking about Harry Potter and Jesus. and the literary connections that have been made between the two. And we're going to talk about the magics and why the Christian community especially was up in arms against the Harry Potter books and their popularity because of the magic. Now, I got a call from Ruben Fasthorse about a half an hour ago, and he said, do you mind if I chime in on this topic? So sometime in the next few minutes, he's going to give us a call, and we're going to bring him on, and we're going to talk about this. So it'll be good to see my Misu, my little brother, Ruben Fasthorse will be in for a little segment here. We're going to talk about some things that kind of revolve around this magic. And the things that he's got a perspective on that whole Harry Potter thing, and how the Christian community saw that as satanic and a gateway to the occult and things like that. They also said the same things about Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, as we've already covered. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit. And so before we do, Ruben will be coming in any minute. And there's something that I kind of wanted to share with you here. Let me see if I can find where this went. Here we go. Let's see. This isn't the story I was thinking. But you hear all this talk these days about, the last 2 days, about the Taliban overrunning Kabul and taking over in Pakistan. And I have seen, now of course both sides will do this in a political tit for tat, but I have seen a lot of talk going back and forth, and even on my own posts that I put up on social media, that you see the left basically very weakly and feebly trying to defend the Biden administration and their decisions. And you've seen the same thing before, but this was a very weak decision. There are a lot of people on the right that are calling this the hugest, not overcomable disaster of the Biden administration. And at the same time, he came out yesterday or today, I think it was, and did a speech on COVID again. And the way I've heard this characterized is that the left needs to keep America afraid of COVID in order to control the situation in the country. And so I wanted to look at this. There's a little article that's out here. Democrats turn on Biden, and they vow an investigation into Afghanistan fiasco. Negligence, a disaster. They screwed up so bad that it's fireable. There are people calling for Biden's resignation over this. And I saw somebody out there saying, what was so bad about what he did compared to, why didn't other presidents pull us out of there? It's not the pulling out, it's the way it was done. And it was the lies told up to it. And while addressing the American people on Monday of this week, President Biden said the buck stops with me. So, and that was in regard to the Taliban's alarming takeover of Afghanistan amid, amid the U.S. military's withdrawal. And then he went on spreading blame to everybody but himself, including former President Donald Trump. But Biden's blame game tactic appears to have failed, even among members of his own party. And it's interesting, I heard somebody say, I think it was MSNBC, Brian Williams, had something like, Joe Biden gave a wonderful speech on Monday, a beautiful speech. He apologized and so on, but he really didn't apologize. He said the buck stops with me, but he didn't really, and not that I think a United States president needs to apologize, but he didn't really do that. He tried to pass the buck. This is the way things are done in politics. And so the Democratic lawmakers this week turned on the president over his botched handling of the rapidly deteriorating situation in Afghanistan. And they're demanding answers from his administration. Now, here's the question that I ask. When I look at this, I go, did Biden really make it? Did President Biden make any decisions at all regarding Afghanistan? I don't think he did. And Steve Clark, I like what you're saying right there. It's a little off the topic of what that we're going to get into a little later. But Steve Clark says Harry Potter was about 3 children that stayed together through a lot of troubles, no matter what, one rich or well-known or an outcast, and one no matter what, one rich or well-known, one an outcast, and one poor. And that's very true. Lucky Stone says, sorry I'm late. I'm having a weird work day, the joys of night shift. And I hope things are going to be not so problematic for you with having to show your vaccination card next week. Lucky, I hope that goes well for you. So if Biden steps down, we'll have our first female president, which will be very interesting. I don't care. I don't care about a female president. I don't care if we have a female president or not. I've never had a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the ideology, the political ideology of whatever female president is in the office. And so far, you've got Kamala Harris, who's the vice president, who I think did not break over 2% in the primaries. So basically, her own party rejected her, as well as everybody else, got named to be vice president, and she's probably going to end up being our president. So there you go. The people didn't really want her in that position, but she'll probably be there. But now back on this thing about Afghanistan, one Democratic member of Congress who remained anonymous in order to speak candidly, said, I am bewildered and frustrated, and privately talking to a lot of House Democrats, they feel the same thing. The scenes are just brutal, and there's no excuse for how badly the state or Defense Department or both completely bungled the evacuations and getting folks out. The lawmakers fumed. And by the way, there's still Americans over there, thousands of them. So somebody was really asleep at the switch, he said. I do want to know who was responsible. Where was the ball dropped? Because that person needs to be held accountable. And he said at least one person or a group of people screwed up so bad that it's fireable or a terminatable offense. And so The Hill reported that a similar sentiment is shared by several in the Democratic caucus, with many desiring to see people within the administration held responsible. And meanwhile, President Biden's trying to really draw attention away from this by talking about COVID again. So once again, hammering home the fact, if you know what you're talking about, hammering home the fact that COVID is a scare tactic to keep people dependent upon the government, which is exactly what his party wants to do. So without getting too political about it, sometimes you just have to stop and look at things the way they are. Like Rocky and I had as a tagline for our show when we were doing it, never smarter than common sense. Sometimes you just have to apply common sense to all this. Step back out of the box. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care if you want to defend your party affiliations. I don't care what it is. If somebody is a screwball, call him a screwball. If a mistake was made, call it a mistake. Do you want what's best for the country, or do you want what's best for your party? And I think people need to wake up. You can't be woke, quote unquote, and not understand common sense. So that's my take on that. But this story kind of goes on here. He said it's imperative that the administration provide the American people in Congress transparency about its Afghanistan strategy. That's the House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Gregory Meeks, who's a Democrat. He said in a statement. And Meeks announced on Tuesday that his committee would soon be holding hearings on the Afghanistan debacle during which the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin will be called to testify. Now, the problem with this, you're going to see heads roll. It's not going to be from the top. It's going to be the underlings that are going to roll. So, and by the way, when I say I don't think Joe Biden made this decision at all, I don't think he's capable of it. I think he is doing what his party is telling him to do. And so I think his party, those who are his controllers, his handlers, there is a shadow government, folks, and that's not a conspiracy theory. It's the people behind the incompetence of Joe Biden. And by incompetence, I don't mean that as a nasty slur. I mean that as somebody who does not have the wherewithal to be in that job, running the country running the government of the most powerful country in the world, arguably. So some heads are going to roll. And Democrats on the Foreign Relations Committee agreed. The committee, led by Democrats Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey, vowed this week to investigate the administration's withdrawal for policy execution and intelligence failures. And so in a blistering statement, Menendez said that, oh, and by the way, I already hear the arguments coming up. Well, what about President George W. Bush and his weapons of mass destruction back in 2003? You know what? Maybe a valid point, but that was 2003. That's not now. That's not what's going on right now. So in a blistering statement, Menendez said that Congress was told repeatedly that the Afghan defense and security forces were up to the task, that it had the troops, the equipment, the willingness to fight, and to see this army dissolve so quickly, a day, after billions of U.S. dollars in support, is astounding. The American and Afghan people clearly have not been told the truth. So what else? Ahead of Biden's speech, Democratic Representative Vicente Gonzalez of Texas tweeted, "There's no way to hide it. The situation in Afghanistan is another shame on this administration. Withdrawal was never going to be easy, but it didn't need to come to this." Oh, by the way, Rainey just walked in the room. You did get my answer right on this. If those of you who didn't see this at the beginning.
My pen.
Oh yeah, her pen, her shock pen that she gave me. So it was a joke, but I'm still keeping this. I'm going to play this trump card one of these days. So, like today.
Probably not.
So, anyway, the situation in Afghanistan is another shame on the administration. And he's a Democratic representative, Gonzalez. Withdrawal was never going to be easy, but it didn't need to come to this. The U.S. must do everything in its power to help our partners and allies to safety and to protect our national security. Now, according to The Hill, several other Democratic members were just as severe. Representative Seth Moulton, a Democrat from Massachusetts, has described the situation as a disaster that was avoidable. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Robert Menendez said he was disappointed that the Biden administration clearly did not accurately assess the implications of a rapid U.S. withdrawal. Representative Jim Langevin, a Democrat in Rhode Island, called what was happening a catastrophe. Writing in Foreign Policy, Langevin, who serves on the House Armed Services Committee, complained that this negligence was par for the course for the last administration. I am disappointed to see it now. Which I, of course, disagree with the first part of that statement. So chaotic scenes showing Afghan residents dangling from departing U.S. planes in an attempt to flee the country have shocked the world in recent days. And some fell hundreds of feet to their deaths. Others may have died while clinging to a plane's landing gear. Afghan women anticipating harsh treatment under the new regime have been left to despair over their new reality. Thousands of U.S. troops were rushed back to the Kabul airport in Afghanistan to ensure that scores of American citizens and Afghan translators could be evacuated. It's the result of Taliban forces sweeping Afghanistan with stunning speed and wresting control over the country, an outcome Biden called highly unlikely only days ago. So the fiasco is perhaps the administration's greatest setback yet, and one that, for now, appears to have reset the entire political landscape. This is something that cannot be downlived in an administration. So, folks, there you go. Again, I don't think Joe Biden himself made any decisions in this at all. I think those decisions were made for him. And now he's going to have to bear the brunt of it because he is the leader. When he said the buck stops with me, now let's talk about COVID. Yeah, and COVID didn't bother the Taliban, says Elderberry. And you're absolutely right about that. So I haven't seen Ruben come in yet. So if he doesn't make it in tonight, that's okay. We'll just keep moving along. If he makes it in, we'll talk about some of the things you want to talk about. David Castle says they needed the distraction via the media to try to keep the narrative off the news getting ready to come out. Ain't that the truth? Matthew Sainsbury said, as Mark Twain said, history rhymes. Isn't that the truth? And Steve Clark says, heck, the same shit happened in Vietnam. And you can see it. Yeah, you can. You know what was really a killer? Was the picture of the helicopter that was lifting off from the tower at the Kabul airport, which drew immediate mental picture relation to the famous picture of the helicopter lifting off from the tower in the Saigon airport at the end of the Vietnam War. That was an image that they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. That picture nailed a lot of people. So Dave Potter said, what did you say? It skipped on me here. Hold on. Better than being burned alive. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but I see all these liberal friends of mine that are trying to make comparisons now between what's going on in Afghanistan and the takeover, the insurrection in Afghanistan, and comparing it to January 6th at the United States Capitol of this year. And I said, what a bunch of boneheaded, dipshitty, liberal fucktards can actually make that comparison. I mean, seriously. The Taliban, if they saw a guy in a furry suit and horned helmet, they'd have cut his head off. Nothing like that happened here. You had, I've had a couple of people try. God. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going to say come and say hi, but you'd have to.
I'm not sure everybody would like that.
Sorry, folks. Give me a second. Give me a moment. Oh, my goodness. How to use your imagination, folks. I don't even know how to carry on after that. So, if you want to, why don't you come on over and say hi? But
Christmas?
If you don't have to change at all, change anything there. But if you want to come and say hi, you should. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Elderberry, I just want to say hello to my beautiful wife.
Hello.
And you can say hi to her as well.
Yeah, hi, everybody.
So, if you can't figure out what just happened off camera,
then you'll never know.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was wondering if anything in your background was like, I think we're good.
Oh, no. You mean reflecting what you just did?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing big enough back there. So there you go.
Oh,
I can't. I got to decline that, Ruben, because I can't get on the phone right now. So hopefully he can just click on the link and he'll come in.
Yeah.
So thank you. I would like to revisit this moment later.
Yeah, you won't be able to. I'm gonna go to bed. Good night. Love you. Bye.
You're so cruel to me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there you go. All right, folks. Yeah, David Castle. She distracted me all right.
I did. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a lot of it. So if you want to take that out and if he calls back, just tell him to use the link I sent him.
I can do that.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, man. Okay, I got to get back into show head.
Show.
Here.
You said
I
head.
said head. Bye.
I'm going to go see what you were doing on your phone while I was gone.
Okay.
All those chicks you text.
Oh, yeah. All my girlfriends.
You know they're really boyfriends, but that's
but
okay.
none of them are as good as you.
Thanks.
Sure, you're welcome. Now get out of here so I can concentrate.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Barbie D says hi. Everybody says hi. Oh. Thank you. Again.
I'm going to plug your phone in out on the counter if you wonder where it's at.
Okay. Yikes. There you go. Sorry to break into the show like that with that familial interlude, but that was a lot of fun. All I can say is that it had something to do with this. So we're going to end the show right now. I hope I'm not too transparent, but that's one of those distractions that works for me. Yes, Michelle Cannon-Free, the Rainy. And so hopefully their Rainy, I think, picked that up. So, yeah, you know what happened off screen, Steve. You know what happened. And I'm looking to say things, and I'm not going to say anything. I can't say anything. You know what just happened, and we'll just leave it there. And I'm sorry. I'm so easily manipulated. So where were we? I think we were kind of talking about. We were talking about the whole Afghanistan thing, but we really spent that topic. So we're going to move on from that. And yeah, oh boy is right, Matthew. Good night, Rainy. Everybody says good night. Bye, Rainy. Short show tonight, says Steve Clark, laughing. Hi, Rainy. The blade of the sword showed everything. Yeah, she actually looked back at that to see if it reflected anything. But yeah. So it all started right there. And then it moved around to the back side of my computer where the door is, and I can see right through there and continued there. Deep cleansing breath. Woosa. All right. So there you go. Now, it's not that I'm not a manly man and can't handle that kind of thing when it comes in, and I can easily turn that off, but I let it ride because you all know me and you all know Rainy and you all know what happens around here sometimes. So that was a treat for me, not for you. I got ice cream and you didn't. So, all right. Now let's clear our palates. It is 9:30. I'm going to play a little break here. Maybe try to get into the habit of this since we're going to be starting to get back into doing the Odyssey radio format. So I'm going to let this play, and I will see you guys in about a minute and a half.
Are Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Hey folks, we're back. Welcome back to the program. And we're going to get into this topic tonight of Harry Potter and Christ and the likenesses made between the two. We might not get Ruben tonight. He was having some tech issues and he tried to call my phone. And so Rainey took that, but we'll see what happens. Excuse me. So welcome to everybody who's come in. Chad Sanders is here. Good to see you. Dave Potter is here. And let's see, who else have we got? I see you, Olson. I get it by your response. Not quite sure what you meant. Oh, are you talking about the Olsen bloodstream? Yeah. Rainey is an Olsen, by the way. When Dave Potter refers to, oh, that's just an Olsen thing. Rainey is originally an Olsen. And so there you go. Oh, we got Ruben Fasthorse coming in. Let's see if we can bring him in for a few minutes here. We might have to cut him a little shorter than we wanted to be, but let's add him to the stream here. Hey, Ruben.
Hey.
How you doing, Misu?
Live from New York. It's
Live
me.
from New York.
So that's great.
Yeah. Well,
Scotty's my chia in Lakota. He is my older brother, so
yes.
We talk all the time. We've known each other for over 25 years. Can you believe that? And I'm in New York, and he's in Wisconsin. That's how I know how to say it. Wisconsin. That's how you got to say it. I lived in Milwaukee, so Milwaukee. So
yeah. Well, now
anyway.
What prompted you to get a hold of me a little earlier was the topic we're on tonight, talking about Harry Potter and Jesus Christ. So, this one author called it Jesus Potter Harry Christ was the name of his book, and it's the fascinating similarities between what he refers to as two of the greatest literary characters in history, and at least modern history, if not all of history. And he's one is definitely fictional, while the other one is historical, but he's addressing the questions of the historical veracity of Jesus, that there's a lot of scholarly input on that. Some think Jesus didn't exist at all. That he was such a small-time prophet that got, or rabbi that ended up getting executed for breaking Jewish law, and but his followers built up the huge story about him. This is why he's calling Jesus, in this sense, a literary character. There's been so much fiction, he thinks, that has been built up around him. And we were just going through last night as a foundation to this series, talking about Harry Potter and the response that was out there when the books first started coming out, then the movies, and it was such a huge phenomenon that I think we mentioned last night when the Deathly Hallows, the 7th book, came out. Was it that one? When that came out, that or it might have been even the 3rd or the 4th book, that in 24 hours, they sold 11 million copies of that book, then 8.5 million copies over the next day. So what's interesting about this, we start talking about what the Christian response was at the time. And that Christian response was one of, this is a gateway thing to introduce kids to Satanism, to occultism, because we all know, according to Christians, that magic is satanic and magic is occult and so on. And this is something I've been talking about time and again on this program, is that there are magics incorporated into Christianity that Christians don't even know are there. You look at just communion alone. It is, you take the Christianity part out of it, calling it a Christian sacrament, and it's magic. The transubstantiation of bread into the body of the God and the blood into the blood of the God, that's all dark magic. So in looking at this is why you contacted me earlier, was to talk a little bit about these things. And let's spend a few minutes talking. You also told, I don't know if this story was about the magics, but you told the story about the girl in the wheelchair at the basketball game, right? And you talked, and how you gave her the feather,
right? In 1998, I became the mascot for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, and I was a teacher and bus driver. School teacher. I'm educated. I've been educated throughout up until 3 years ago, NYU. I've been teaching at NYU, New York University in Greenwich Village, Lakota, and teaching Lakota at Sitting Bull College in 4H, North Dakota, where I graduated. Side apart, I'm just trying to address what Scotty was saying. I've known Scotty for over 25 years, and we're brothers, and I'm adopting him and his family. So it's a Lakota way. So going back to the magic part of everything, trying to make people that are listening what is magic and spells. And I still do magic. I'm a magician, yes. One of 8 magicians in the world, Native American, just Native American. So I've been teaching and sharing and talking, but every time I institute that, I also talk about the language and how things are from the past and things are in the future. But today is the real magic. And
yes.
That's what I do in my show, where I get everybody. My whole point is not to make me somebody that's important, but it's to make them, everybody, that you are empowered, you are strong, you're your own magician, you're your own prophet, yes. You're your own psychic, you're your own shaman, you're your own witch, if you believe it. And don't put it on people. I grew up Catholic and I worked for them, and I almost became a Catholic priest. I lived with brothers, Marist brothers out of Poughkeepsie, New York, on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the poorest place in America. And I realized they're just regular guys, Yeah. And I lived among the Jesuits, which are the soldier priests of the Catholic Church. They're the ones that they, like the Marines, they push them in and then they take over and stuff like that.
Right.
But instead of being I still wear the black robes in the wintertime, and Scotty's seen that. And,
I have.
And I realized that, they're not all that. They're just, so many times I had dinner with them and they're all sitting there in their lazy boys and having their scotch and cigars and they were just regular men, and I
Sure.
realized that, you know what, they're just regular men. So
Yeah.
I understood that. I went back to the old men, the traditional Lakota people, and I understood what they were doing and what they were saying and how they were doing it. The old way, like the witches, the pagan. And pagan is not a bad word. It's paganus, Roman. Paganus is Roman for the country dwellers. It's like saying the rednecks.
Right.
It's saying like white trash. It's just the words that people put people down that don't understand. Uneducated.
Yes.
Misunderstood. So I love Scotty's show and Scotty and I have been together for over 30 years. Can
Yeah.
you believe that, Scotty? Chair, older brother. And I'm his suit.
Close. We're getting close to that.
But the whole point is that we're trying to define the edge of what is going on in this world, where people can adapt and adjust to what's going on in their world, especially now with the, I've been vaccinated twice, vaccinated.
Yep.
Susie and I, we did that and whatnot. But on the Pine Ridge and in the native reservations, which people don't know, that it's really, really hard. And my sister's an RN, and she's having a hard time. And my brothers are both tribal workers, and they're adjusting. I'm here in New York. So I'm just going to do a little plug. 29th, we do our class, Native American class, where we talk about the Lakota language to preserve it. But we also talk about the language, but also about the current position of Native American people. And I was telling an Irishman in my class that we helped your people in potato famine in Dublin in the 1930s. And
it was the Choctaw, wasn't it?
It was a Choctaw. Yes, Scotty. Yes. It was, Scotty knows. It was a Choctaw that we sent, I don't know how much money, but we sent money over there. And then they rewarded us by creating 12 for every direction, every month, of sculptures of iron feathers, taller than a man.
Mm-hmm.
And they put illuminated lights of the rainbow on each one because we gave them money to help themselves. And that's what this is about. It's about helping each other.
Yes.
Reciprocal. Go ahead.
I agree. We're just putting up the link if anybody wanted to call in and ask you anything. I want to ask you real quick. I want to bring you back around to this topic we're talking about with the magic and how the Christian community feels that Harry Potter was this gateway to dark magic and the occult. And there were many Christians that changed their tune on that after the last book came out because it was so clear that the author, well, not clear, it wasn't crystal clear, it wasn't an exact analogy, but the Harry Potter became a kind of Christ type, following the same storyline in a sense, the same factoids of his life in a fictional way. So he became a Christ type in literature, and even J.K. Rowling admitted this. But you told this story about when you were doing a mascot thing for the basketball team. You were dressed in your native traditional garments, and there was the young girl who was in a wheelchair.
Yes.
Now, you did a little tiny bit of magic there. Share that with everybody. What happened there?
So my job at the point was I was 26 years old. I'm 50 right now, and Scotty's talking about the time in 1998 I was the mascot for the Standing Rock, which is also the DAPL, as you well know, Dakota Actional pipeline that was going on through our reservation. But aside that, I went out there as a school teacher and also a bus driver. I had all the people, and the Eagle flew over both of us. And so I went there and I dressed in my regalia, my dance regalia. I wasn't some kind of woo Indian that was dancing around like they do in Illinois, the state of Illinois. And I did that. And there was the little girl in a wheelchair that had leukemia. She had leukemia. And her parents came up to me after, I ran out around the basketball rim, and then the guys were following me, and then I went off and they did the layups, basketball guys do. And after a while, I stood there and I had my own arrows that I made, handmade, my quiver and bow and arrow. I was a real Indian, and I am a real Indian,
right.
regardless. So she rolled up in her. She's not a native girl. She's not native, and she rolled up and said, "Can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yes, and please." And I'm a teacher. I've been an educator for 35 years. So I said yes. And her parents came up, slowly, and were scared. I don't know why. Why white people are
a little nervous meeting somebody. Yeah,
whatever.
I get it.
So they came up, and but she was not scared. She was not scared, and she came up and said, "Can I say something to you?" And I said, "Yes, please. It's okay." And we talked, and she said, "I really love what you do, da 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 da," all this stuff. And I said, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And she said, "I have leukemia. I have leukemia." And I took a feather out of my quiver. And I said, "I made this with love. It's yours. It's yours."
Nice.
And the people, the people, but also the parents said, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." Parents do that. And
well, you told her something when you gave her that feather. What did you tell her?
I told her that this will be your strength. This will keep you strong. Now, I don't know any more than that, whether she survived or she did not or whatever. But I think it was important. It's very important that's the kind, Scotty, that's the kind of kindness that one gives to another. Hope is the best word in the English language. Hope. So I gave her hope. I hope I did. But she took it and she kept it.
And that feather, and stating the intent of this is to give you. I'm sorry, the arrow. The intent of this is to give you strength. Keep this; it will give you strength. That's a magic that people don't even realize exists. That's a minor, if you will, spell. That it's something that's saying, "I'm going to give this thing to you, and this is going to be a magic for you." This is so in essence, you gave her a little spell that was saying, "Use this to be strong," and use it to remind you to be strong, to act strong, to appropriate strong. So Matthew Sainsbury said, "Words have power." Agreed. So
No, you're right. There's so many words for magic, and there's also magic.
Mhm.
And what you're talking about in my book, okay, people don't know this, but I am a magician
Mhm.
by nature, and I've been recognized. Oh God!
Well, there's
Right.
such a difference between doing the
Magic?
showman side of things and
Yes,
also
yes.
practicing
Yes,
as a lifestyle, as a spirituality. There's something different.
and okay, I'll say this real quick before I defend myself.
Yeah.
I'm a magician, but Scotty is a magic, and you got to put the guttural. And he does what he does not through tricks that I do, but he does it through vocal aspect. And so Scotty is a magic, and I'm a magician, and a little bit a magic, and I'm learning that because
There you go.
when we touch the world the way we do, in talking about heartfelt things, spiritual things, and it's not just spiritual. Sorry, it's also about yes,
mental,
physical, but mental,
psychological.
psychological. And you're reaching that, and that's what Scotty does, and that's what I love about Scotty, because he's not lost. He's not lost. When I say lost, he's not lost in the sense of that he's open, and he wants to have everybody to understand his show. And that's why I'm here.
I do.
And that's why Rainey's there. And that's why his kids are there. And that's why everybody else. Leslie Holker, I love you. Sorry.
She's out there somewhere.
Yeah,
I
she's
think
out
she's in
there
the chat
somewhere.
room, but I don't know for sure.
But so many people, Diane Thurston, and people that have become my friends.
Yeah.
So the whole point is, long story short, I'm just saying that I'm glad you got to see what you sat to see, because when you expand consciousness, you can't unexpand it.
Right.
You can't close it.
Right.
It goes and goes and goes, and that's why I'm here. That's why Scotty's here, and that's why Scotty does what he does. And I have my own class, in my own way. So
yeah. So, folks, you want to go over to Facebook and look up Ruben Fasthorse, find the link to his page, join his page over there, and you'll see his announcements when it comes up where he's doing his language classes. As a matter of fact, I could probably throw that in for you right here, right now. Let's look up Ruben Fasthorse, and this is his. This is what shows for his link over there. Whoops, trying to copy a link and talk at the same time. But here you go. It's got a numbered link, and I don't like those links. I thought they had, where it says facebook.com/profiles.php?ID equals 100102 blah, 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 blah. Why doesn't it just say facebook.com/Ruben Fasthorse? Is that what it is? Is that your,
yeah, just go to Ruben Fasthorse and,
let's see if that works. I'll put it down, folks. If you want to join his page, I think this link will get you there.
All right,
I'm pretty sure.
Chia.
Yes, sir.
Little brother, big brother.
Yes, Misu, little brother.
Little brother is Misu, me, and then Chia. I want to sing a Lakota song.
Please do.
I will sing it real quick, one time through, and for everybody.
Let's do that.
This is recorded. It's when the rain falls, the thunder beams. The thunder is a very sacred being. The thunder, it changes the winter to spring, etc. It also comes back in the autumn.
Yes.
And then it turns into everything. And so this song says it's a sacred clown song, where the Heoka, which is the manifestation of the thunder beams, among Lakota Native American people, we look to the west. We're the only people among the Native Americans look to the west. Everybody looks to the east.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the Lakotas do that, but we look to the west. And the west brings the thunder and the rain and the snow. And so this song says, who is it? Who is it that calls me? Who is it that calls me? It's the thunders. They call me. Not just me, but you, Scotty, and everybody else out there. Who is it that calls me? It's the thunders from the west. They call me. And they ask me where I come from. So I want to share this with you. Wakia oya tewa kola maki opeloyo ayeyo neya tewa maki opeloyo ayeyo weyo peyata Wakia oya tewa kola mafi papeloyo. And the medicine that you when you sing that song, you burn cedar.
Okay.
And that is the woman's medicine.
All right.
Sweetgrass and cedar. The male medicine is tobacco and sage.
And that right there is a bit of Lakota magic. So, all right, brother. Thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. And until next time, Misu, I love you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for that. Good night. All right, folks. There was Ruben Fasthorse, and always interesting to talk to. He wanted to add something to this topic we were talking about magic, and especially with Harry Potter. And pardon me, where our house is just infested with flies because it's that time of year. It's hot and humid outside. The kids open the door, 20 flies fly in. I'm like, shut the door. So if you see me doing a lot of this on the radio program, they're in the house. We can't seem to kill them fast enough. So sorry about that, guys. Anyway, yes, Barbie D, that was beautiful. And thanks again, Misu, Brother Ruben, for that song. Roger Rabbit says, wow, that rattle is making the hair stand up on my arms. I'm using earbuds, and while the song is a vibrational experience, it is. You should hear that live sometime, Roger. And well, folks, I don't think we're going to get into too much about the topic tonight while we hit on it from a roundabout way. So we'll leave that go for tomorrow night. We'll pick this up again where we left off on Harry Potter and Christ. Jesus Potter, Harry Christ. And we'll talk about the similarities between Harry Potter and Jesus as literary characters. One literary character, the other one, of course, one a fictional, one a historical character. And yes, somebody said in here earlier, and I agree, I happen to believe he was an historical person. I think there may have been embellishments by his followers because there were other, and we're going to cover this again, there were other God-man types before Jesus that were messiahs in that region, in that time in history. So we'll cover that again tomorrow. We'll hop back into this. So everybody, thank you. Thank you, Barbie D. Thank you, Steve Clark. Thank you, Roger Rabbit, Matthew Sainsbury, Master Finn. All of you, thank you for being here. Pyramid 7, thanks for being here. I'm glad you made it in. Dave Potter, good to see you as well. And Elder Barry was here, and I'm just rolling through the list back here. And Delaney Pearl Jones was here and may still be here. And all of you, thank you for putting up with my distractedness. I didn't play it up, but I let it carry on a little longer than others might in that same situation, because you know who I am, you know who Rainey is, and my answer to this was marked in green earlier tonight. So you get what she was up to back over here. If you weren't here earlier, that was the major distraction of the evening, off to my side, off the wings. And so I'm going to go say hi to her right now. And to all of you, I'm going to say thank you for being here. I appreciate everything you do. If you're not a member of this channel, click the join button down below and become a member of this channel. And that helps me deliver the stuff that we deliver here. And hopefully you enjoy it. I got flies on my face and on the back of my head and my neck. It's probably just one now. I've killed so many in here. So wish me well with the fly slaying tonight. I don't find them as being anything enjoyable in nature. So there you go, folks. You guys have a good night. And as always, you live long and prosper.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.